Jackson. It's Blake. Studio Better podcast. Can we get a word? Can we get a word?
Sure. What did you want to know?
Just what's episode 11? What's going on?
11, I mean, did you want to know about NCAA?
Just
video game ratings for some of our players.
Just fucking tell us.
Did you want to know about?
Just do it.
Spencer Rattler comments. Do you want to know if aliens exist or not?
Just do it.
You can find out about all those on this episode of the Studio Better podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Backs up one way, just lays out right over the platform.
Holy shit. Dude, why are we in a garage?
Well, welcome everyone to episode 11 of the Sooner the Better podcast, coming to you live, somewhat semi-live from my
It's not live at all.
smelly ass garage. So the reason...
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, by the way, y'all. Happy Easter. It's a beautiful Sunday. It's actually not beautiful. It's a little
Cold.
dirty looking out. Yeah, it's kind of foggy, kind of dark. It's very, very depressing weather, actually. But the reason why we're in my garage today, as you can see over there, we got the crock pot box and toilet paper in the background, but we tried to make it look like our usual set. We got Boomer right here. The reason why we're here today is because yesterday Blake was fucking around and messed up our filming scheduling. So now we're here. We got the whole family here, so we can't record inside, so that's why we're in the garage. So, but we're gonna make it work.
Yep.
We're gonna make it work. So, I mean, how's your week been, man?
It's been good. I I had the flu this week, so it wasn't good.
Damn.
It was
That's
the
not
opposite.
good. That is the opposite of good.
And then
That's pretty
yesterday,
shitty.
I was messing around, looking for new apartments, about to move, probably closer to Deep Ellum. Anybody in Dallas knows Deep Ellum's kind of like a cool spot by the farmer's market. He thought we were moving to a farmer's market. That was a long text thread.
Your phrasing was so off. He basically made it seem like he was going to be moving into a farmer's market, like they were just going to house you. But anyway, that aside, let's just jump right into it. So, I mean, before we get into new business like usual, I have just a few quick notes. Obviously, we are now not exactly 1 week. We would have been exactly 1 week if we had fucking filmed on time. But Blake, we're now 6 days away from the spring game. Very excited to be there, see all the Sooner fans, see it packed out. I mean, from what I've seen, like a realistic number to expect would be like maybe like 60 to 65,000 for this one, because we had 55,000 for last year. So I feel like definitely going to be more. I don't know that it's going to be super packed, but definitely excited. Just a little note on this. So I've been watching other teams' spring games just because it's really interesting to me just to kind of see how they're looking. To me, the team that stands out that has set the bar for me so far has been Ohio State. Yeah. Their spring game looked fantastic. C.J. Stroud looked scary. South Carolina's, man, it was not... Spencer Rattler didn't look like he had improved as much as I hoped he would. He was making very similar throws to what we saw from him.
So not avoiding the deep ball?
Not avoiding the deep ball. I mean, he didn't really throw the deep ball. It was just a lot of miscues on like really easy passes. So very similar things to what we were seeing. Just kind of like errant balls thrown that should be, easy dimes for a guy of his caliber. But I mean, it could just be, obviously it's a completely new program. So, but anyway, Ohio State has set the bar. South Carolina's didn't look that good. Clemson's looked kind of like Clemson might still be in some trouble. Like they have their quarterback play to me is completely up in the air. And then Alabama's it didn't look great, but I mean they're Alabama. They're not going to be bad next year. So
yeah, I mean to me Clemson last year, DJ, I think it showed just how good Trevor Lawrence was and how important he was to that offense, because DJ, even though he was a top tier recruit, just did not have the sauce. He was very disappointing. I think that was kind of the story though last year, was the two biggest NIL people Spencer Rattler and DJ Ugalala.
It's very fucking hard to pronounce, dude. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Is it Ugalele?
I don't know.
Ungalele?
I don't know.
Well, anyways,
don't
both
know.
of them very much so underperformed. And so, yeah, we'll see
Yeah, they
what
were.
a Brent Venables next is able to do
Yeah,
next year.
it's kind of funny how like hyped both of those guys were too coming into
Super
their
hyped.
college careers. But yeah, so I mean, spring game's coming up. We're super pumped. We're probably gonna film an episode right after in our hotel room. So
Yeah, or maybe Sunday morning. Probably.
yeah, maybe Sunday morning.
Probably after, and then we'll go hit some bars.
Hit
Campus
some
Corner.
bars. Maybe the casinos on the way back. Win
Yeah.
some money. Probably lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
But anyway, in terms of my my Sooner Schooner crusade to get one of those hats, I have no updates, unfortunately. I don't know if I've moved
Stalled
up on the
list.
list. I don't know where we stand. I don't even know if they've made more at this point. So I'm just patiently waiting. OU Gymnastics won a national championship. I'm going to be honest
They
with
won
you.
a Big 12 championship.
No. That was tennis. Tennis won the Big 12 championship.
Oh.
OU Gymnastics won a national championship
for
in
them.
the finals against Florida. I'm not going to lie. I don't know anybody on the gymnastics team, so I have nobody to shout out specifically. I don't know shit about gymnastics. I don't know how it's scored.
I don't understand sports, and I think
That are judged. Yeah.
because it seems like it's a lot based just on people's opinions, and I'm sure I just don't understand. I'm a layman. I am uncultured, but to me, if like football, there's nothing to judge. Like you either score a point or you don't score the point. Baseball, there's nothing to judge. You either hit the home run, you touch the bag, or you didn't.
Yeah.
It's completely
And there's like
it's
replay
completely
review.
objective.
Yeah, exactly.
Gymnastics, it's like, okay, you did this flip and you landed it. Like, that's impressive, super impressive. But like, I feel the same
mean-
way about bodybuilding. Like, how do you know, like how is one guy better? I mean, I just don't get it.
I think that's why they have multiple judges. I don't know, because it's like, I mean, it's obviously like technique based, so it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like how well did you
Your triple
balance
Salchow, is that gymnastics or is that ice skating?
something? There's like a pommel horse or something. I don't know what they do. I like the one
She's
with
still giving him hell on that pommel race.
I like the one that they do where they have the two bars and they're just flipping around. It's honestly really impressive stuff. You gotta have
No, it is.
insane
I couldn't do it.
physical prowess to do that. But but apparently like the scoring issue is like a real thing, because there's a bunch of Florida fans that were all fucking peeved about the result and thought that Florida should have won outright. But I guess that's why we're not gymnastics judges.
Yeah,
so
go suck shit, Florida.
yeah, go suck shit. And then on the flip side of that coin, we got a national championship, but our undefeated softball team suffered its first loss to none other than Texas. However, we did win the series. We went into Austin. We won the first two games pretty dominantly. But in this last game, we just couldn't hit until the very end. Got a 2-run homer, but they had already put up 4 runs, so it's just too late. But I mean, OU's still the best softball team in the country. It's not even close. Yeah.
Way to go, girls.
Way to go. We're gonna keep that train running. Also, one last note. Man, this is a fucking long.
Yeah, it is.
Quick. This is not. I had this titled "Quick Notes." These are
Half
not
the damn episode.
quick. Well, just things kept happening, and I was like, I have to mention these. Anton Harrison at practice. There's a video clip going around of them doing the W drill, which is basically like, it's like a elongated version of the Oklahoma drill where they have like blockers and runner, and it's basically defense is trying to stop the runner,
But it's
and
like
offense is trying to block
2-on-2?
for him.
Is it 2-on-2?
It's like 5-on-4.
Oh.
It's like 4 tacklers, 4 blockers, and then a running back. At least from what I've
That
seen.
seems unfair.
Well, anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know this.
What's the one where they
semantics
lay
of it.
on the beach and then they get up?
That's the Oklahoma drill.
Is that an Oklahoma? But when they
That's
lay
the
down?
traditional Oklahoma drill.
It is when they start
laying
laying
flat,
down?
get up, and
Okay.
then you just hit each other full. But they've adapted the Oklahoma drill over
stopped
time to
doing
be
it
where they
because it's like dangerous.
put the ball on the block, snap it, pick it up, and then you run straight
Yeah, I
up.
always thought the Oklahoma drill was where you were one-on-one and you had the two tackling dummies that are blocking you off, so you have like a restricted lane.
Yeah.
And then it's just one-on-one.
I think they changed it to that to make it safer. But now at this point, Oklahoma drills aren't even allowed in college football. So we do the W drill. But anyway, they were doing the W drill, and Anton Harrison got absolutely shedded by Ethan Downs. And people on Twitter were just pooping on my guy, man. Like they were like, oh, we're so fucked. We're in so much trouble. Anton Harrison couldn't block a kindergartner. But I mean, it's one rep, dude. Chill out. You've never played football.
everybody loses.
Shut your fat, greasy ass up. You don't know what it's like. I mean, it's Ethan Downs, dude. It's like you're talking about a really good defensive player. And I mean, you don't want to see the offense win every rep. I know that's what we're used to. But, like, I mean, obviously, shout out to Ethan Downs. Props to the defense. You want to see them win some reps. Obviously, not everybody's going to have a perfect practice. Not everybody's going to win them all. And they shouldn't be winning them all. It should be way more competitive than that. So
You know, the more I drink this, the better it gets.
that's because the drunker you're getting.
We're sponsored by Ranch Water.
We're not sponsored
actually.
by Ranch Water. I'm not going to sponsor something that I don't believe in. These are terrible.
They're not awful.
If you're looking for a Ranch Water seltzer, I would suggest you look elsewhere. These kind of taste like somebody soaked their feet in it for some time.
Anyway, moving on. New business.
Moving on.
Jesus Christ, that was like half the episode.
I think we cleared it pretty quickly. But new business. UFC 257. I don't know if we have many UFC fans on here, but you know, we'll throw some hashtags on there. Maybe get a handful of UFC fans that want to hear what the fuck you have to say about it. UFC 257 happened last Saturday, right after we recorded. In my opinion, one of the best cards the UFC's had in a while in terms of both like impact to the sport and just in terms of entertainingness to watch. First big event, the top 3 fights. Khamzat Chimaev, my guy that fights out of Sweden, won by unanimous decision against Gilbert Burns. Did you happen to watch that fight?
Dude, I don't watch fights really that much. And when I do, I'm very casual. So, like, I know like Connor, and I know like Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal.
Well, okay, that's okay. It's great that you
And
mentioned those guys.
some of those guys, but like not a big fight follower. But I like watching them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
entertaining.
So Khamzat Chimaev, he's a new contender out of Chechnya. Well, he's from Chechnya, but he fights out of Sweden. He's one of the biggest rising stars in the UFC. He came in, won his first 4 fights extremely dominantly. He before this fight right here, he was hit twice. He was punched twice and won every single fight in the first round. He beats Gilbert Burns by unanimous decision, gets a couple takedowns, was standing in there with him, boxing him, literally just fucking fighting, dude.
Good for him. Way to go.
And yeah, man, this is huge for me because he's one of my new favorite up and coming fighters, and he might get Colby Covington next. That's what everybody suspects because Kamaru Usman is going to be gummed up fighting Leon Edwards, which I don't think is going to be much of a battle there. So he'll probably get Covington next, and then the winner of that one will get the defending title holder, whoever wins between Kamaru and Leon Edwards. So shout out my boy. I also have one of his Panini sports cards, so he probably just got me a lot of fucking money. Not a lot of money, but
Paninis are pretty good.
like the sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah, same here.
We're about to eat.
We got Easter lunch coming up
Easter
here
lunch.
very soon, so we're excited. After that, Aljamain Sterling, after the controversial knee to the head in his last fight with Petr Yan, retained the title, or not retained the title, but won the title, but then came back against all odds and beats him to retain the title. Gets a couple takedowns, was using the takedown to set up his boxing, stuffed a couple takedowns from Yan, and had a really good win. I was chanting USA the whole time, even though he walked in with a Jamaican flag, even though he's American, but of Jamaican descent, so I understand because I got an Irish flag.
Yeah.
Take some pride in that, you know.
Would you walk in with an Irish flag though, or with an American flag?
I'd maybe do like I'd maybe do like an American flag headband and then walk in with or vice versa, like an Irish flag headband or like bandana and then American flag behind me. Even though I've never been to Ireland and I have no idea what it's like.
Yeah. Could be awful.
Yeah.
We don't know.
But I'm all about the culture, you know. And then after that, the main event, Alexander Volkanovski beats Korean Zombie in a dominant fashion. Literally, I don't know how this guy wasn't dead. He took like probably 4 or 5 punches that would have left me fucking on the ground drooling, shit in my pants and whatnot. And I'm convinced that Volk is pound for pound one in the UFC. I really do. Certainly the best counterpuncher in the UFC. Henry Cejudo. You know Henry Cejudo?
Dude, I don't know any of these fucking people you're talking about.
Henry Cejudo, former bantam and featherweight champion, double champ, is coming back out of retirement. I don't even think he's going to beat Volk. I really don't. He's super dominant, but that'd be a fight for the ages. So looking forward to that one. All you UFC fans, that was our UFC minute for this episode. Maybe we'll do this again. Probably not, since this guy
I'll watch the
doesn't know
fights.
shit.
I watch very casually. I think I saw the last one I watched was the one. What was the one that we bought? It was that you came over to watch.
I know it had Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes got upset by Juliana Pena.
Yeah, but
and then I can't remember what the main event was.
Card. It was. Poirier.
Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
For the lightweight title. I remember that now. Yeah. No, that was a good one. Yeah, man. Start watching it. I stream them illegally, so you know to pay
Don't
for
fucking
them.
say that.
Yeah, fuck you, Dana. You capitalist pig. I stream everything you make illegally. Anyway, moving on. So this is kind of a fun little segment that I wanted to do right here because obviously we had talked previously about the NCAA game that's going to be coming out in 2023.
Very excited about that.
So I just wanted to, throw a few players who, are probably still going to be on the OU roster when that time comes around and just discuss some potential player ratings for them. So I have 3 names that we're going to go over. I just picked these at random. Dylan Gabriel, obviously, because he's the quarterback. And then Drake Stoops, I thought would be a fun one. Stoops. And then Jalen Redman, just because I had to get somebody on defense. Figured I might as well do a defensive lineman. So I guess we'll just go one at a time. We'll start with Dylan Gabriel. I'll do mine, then you do yours.
Yeah.
So I gave Dylan Gabriel. So this is the 3 criteria that I used, right? Because obviously they have a bunch of different statistics on Madden or whatever that they give them ratings for. So I did throwing, running or like scrambling, mobility, and then awareness. So gave him 91 throwing, okay, 83 running, which isn't bad. It's about middling, right? And then 93 awareness, because I think that's going to be his biggest advantage this season is his IQ, just because of the experience that he has. So that's a composite of 89. That's the average. So Dylan Gabriel, solid 89, not quite in that 90 tier yet until we've seen a little bit more from him. But that's still like a solid-ass rating for a first-year not first-year quarterback, but first-year quarterback at Oklahoma.
Yeah, so that's facts. I agree probably with that rating. I think high 80s is probably what we're looking at this year. I wanted to kind of go a step deeper and look back because obviously it's been a very, very long time since we've had these NCAA games. So we didn't really have ratings for Baker and Kyler. I guess you could go by their Madden ratings, but even if you're
both would have been 99s overall.
Yeah,
100%.
Even if you go from like a top tier college recruit, when you get your first Madden rating, it's always going to be lower. Like no one comes out their rookie year and is like a 90 in Madden. It just doesn't happen. So I wanted to go back and look at the last 2 like big time quarterbacks that we had during that era, which were Sam Bradford and Jason White.
Right.
Those are reasonably the 2.
Not Trevor Knight.
He did date Katy Perry.
We love you, Trevor. Don't forget about Blake Bell, the Belldozer.
So Sam Bradford in 2009, which was, I believe, the year that he won the Heisman and the year that we lost to Florida in the national championship. He was at 99 overall. So understandable. He was a really accurate passer, had a huge arm. Wasn't really that mobile, if I remember correctly.
No. It wasn't really that mobile. He was not mobile. He was not.
So 99 overall. Year before 2008, he was a 94 overall. So very high 90s.
Yeah. I think comparing that 2008 rating of 94 before he won the Heisman to Dylan Gabriel, I'd say that about adds up.
So then I wanted to go back.
But then that means Baker and Kyler would for sure have to be 99s.
So then I wanted to go back and look at Jason White's.
Okay.
So Jason White in NCAA 2004, which I believe was the year that we played LSU. That would have been the year that we played LSU in the national championship and got our asses kicked. He was an 85 overall, which is very surprising. So I think Jason White was, I think, a little more similar to Dylan Gabriel in that he did have some mobility before he had his ACL injuries. Dylan Gabriel has a better arm. I think he's probably, if you take Sam Bradford and Jason White and kind of combine them, I think that's a decent middle ground.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go probably 88, 89.
Yeah, I think that's low for Jason White, but I'd put Dylan Gabriel on a similar number. Yeah. But look at my guy Teddy Lehman with
96
with the
overall.
96 Teddy. Wow. What year was that from?
2004.
2000.
That's NCAA 2004. So it would have been the 2003
The 2003 season. That's right. Yeah, so he'd already won the butt kiss.
Yeah.
Congrats, Teddy. Nice job, man.
Yeah. I had to dig for these stats.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, next guy, Drake Stoops. Holla at the Stoops. So the three attributes that I decided to go with for this was catching, route running, and physicality. Okay, catching 95, hardly drops balls. Okay,
He doesn't drop very many.
he does not drop. He hardly any drops that are like inside of his range, because obviously he's not as big as other receivers. So his catchability in terms of like
His catchability. Is that an official Madden rating?
Yeah, his catchability is shut the fuck up. You made up a statistic last episode that you didn't even know what it was.
I didn't make it up.
And then used it to bolster your argument. Anyway, catching 95, route running gave him an 86 because I think he's like, in terms of technique, he's a really good route runner, but he's not the fastest guy.
He's not fast, but I would say his route running is pretty good because he does a good job of getting separation.
Yeah, I mean, I could see anywhere from 86 to 89 range. I went on the lower end just because, there are better route runners.
Yeah.
And then physicality, I gave him an 80 just because he's a great blocker and like technique-wise he's good, but he's, like I said, he's just a more compact, frame, and he's not very big. He doesn't have like insane leaping ability, but he's just like a good, technical, fundamental receiver. So that comes out to a average of 85.
Yeah, I
think actually 86 or like 85 point something.
Yeah. Well, there's more because you're just taking into consideration.
Yeah. So but 85, like that's solid.
I would say Drake Stoops probably
like that's a better than average receiver in the Big 12.
85 might be a little high when you look at NCAA ratings because 85 is almost that's like a number one, a wide receiver one at like a smaller program would be like an 85. I don't know that Drake Stoops would necessarily, if he went to a smaller program, that he'd be wide receiver one. Might be, depending on the scheme.
Yeah.
Also considering that, like we just looked, Jason White was an 85 overall.
Yeah.
In 2004.
But see, that almost seems low to me.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
it is low.
I could definitely see.
I would say Drake Stoops is anywhere. He's in the 80s. I would say maybe like an 82 or an 83 is probably what they would give him.
I don't think you could put a guy that's that consistent below an 80.
No.
Yeah, because 70 range is for like. I can't even think of a comparison to put in the 70 range, but
yeah, that's like a guy. 70 is like almost a guy at a top tier program that doesn't really get any touches.
Yeah,
and Drake Stoops definitely gets his fair share.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last guy, Jalen Redman, our one defensive guy. So the three attributes that I used were just power, speed, and playmaking. So, like, his chase down, ability to get strip sacks, like change of direction, stuff like that. I just gave him 90 in everything. And this is for not what we've seen from him so far, because obviously he was playing under some monsters, but this is what I think it's going to be this season.
Yeah.
But he's a dude, man. Physical, really good tackler. Obviously had the strip sack in the Iowa State game. Yep. So going 90 overall across the board for all three of those. So 90 overall. I think he's going to be, one of the top three best players on our defense this year.
So you actually have him. You think that his rating is going to be higher than Dylan Gabriel's per position?
Yeah, I think he's going to be. If you look at the analytics, which we're going to be talking about some analytics a little bit later here in the episode, I think his production, like, he's going to have the most, like, the highest plus minus of any player on the team, or one of the highest. But we're going to need him a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably. I mean, we're going to have some players that are A players.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're talking about players that are over 90. Marvin Mims, for sure. Yeah. I just didn't want to go with Marvin Mims as the receiver because it's like that's too obvious of a choice.
I mean, he's probably like a 94.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like that. Low to mid 90s range for sure.
Here's kind of an interesting. I agree with you on Jalen. Kind of an interesting thing that I'll plug in. What do you think our overall offensive and defensive rating would be? Which one do you think is going to be higher? Do you think defense is going to be higher or offense? Or pretty even? It's
hard to tell. I'm going to say pretty even.
Okay.
I'm going to say for this year, I'm going to go 89 offense, 89 defense, which is almost better than having like a 95, 96 offense, but then like a 75 defense. I would prefer it that way.
I would say something similar. I would give us an overall at probably 90, because you got to figure you're capped out at like 95. No team rating's better than 95.
I would say you could maybe put the Ohio State offense at like a 97, 98.
Maybe their offense would be, but
like the overall team
is
rating
not going to be over 95. So yeah, Ohio State might have a 97 offense, but they're probably going to have like a 90 defense or an 89 defense.
Yeah.
I would give us maybe a straight up 90 overall.
That's fair.
Maybe have like a 91 defense and an 89 offense. And I will actually take that split because that's the first time we will have had that split.
Oh, I'll take an 89 defense on any
long time.
Any team. Yeah. But yeah, man. Who's making the NCAA game? Is it EA?
Yeah.
EA, if you need like ratings, we'll be your guys because obviously we know what we're doing.
Please patch the issues in Madden. Like, don't include those on the NCAA games.
Yeah, just basically fix multiplayer.
And fix the busted ass plays where you can audible out, but then your corner will still stay playing like zone in the area and won't shift over. It's a mess.
Yeah,
it's
a mess. BS, dude. I haven't been able to play Campus Legends mode in like months because it just doesn't work. You can play as college teams, so they have the all-time OU team on there. It's pretty cool. The quarterback's Kyler, which I don't agree with. The backup is Baker. Me personally, you know who I'm taking.
Yeah.
But
do you sub him in? Do you sub Baker in?
I do. Yeah. No, I don't. No, Kyler's a cheat code. He's so fast in the game. It's ridiculous. Moving on though. So this is kind of a touchy subject because a lot of people disagree about what he was talking about. I wasn't able to check out the article as in depth as I would have liked, but Spencer Rattler made some comments about the culture at OU, basically saying he's glad he's at South Carolina, which is great, but that he was glad to get out of a toxic situation. Now, some people think that he's talking about or toxic culture. Toxic culture is what he said, right? If you're talking about a culture, you're talking about every single aspect of it, right? You're talking about coaching staff to players to just the school itself and the fan base, right?
Yeah.
You could be talking about something specifically, but if you would just say it, right? But then there's some people that are saying that he was basically just trying to single out the coaching staff, which I didn't see him specifically say anything about the coaching staff. So it leads me to believe that he was butthurt about the people wanting, or the people booing him and the people that were chanting the, we want Caleb. So I just want to discuss this because, like, obviously the booing, I think, went a little too far.
Yeah,
I don't think you should ever boo somebody that's putting their heart and soul out there to play for your team, but you do have the right to try to influence your coach, like the coaching staff and your team, and hold the coaches accountable to make the best decision for the team.
Yeah, I think on that, we both, I think, wanted to see Caleb come in and play, and it's nothing against Spencer Rattler. Mm-hmm. It's just he wasn't being effective in our offense at that time. He was very effective the year before, especially late
which is weird.
In the season. Whatever happened, blame it on the coaching staff, blame it on personnel, whoever. The offense just was not clicking like it should have been under his leadership on the field. Now, I can see it from both points of views. I agree. The fans should not have booed him, and I gotta slightly call us out. We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard because we don't want to be known as a school that
shits on people.
Shits on people. Right. That's like a toxic fan base. Like OU, there's a lot of love amongst the community. We need to show love for our school, love for our players. And be known as a very welcoming, supporting fan base that doesn't turn on you if you don't, necessarily live up to your hype.
Yeah.
That being said, was putting in Caleb the right move? Yes.
Oh,
now,
yeah, without a doubt.
But I also get what Spencer, because I read the article, and basically Spencer was talking about how when he got pulled, the team was undefeated under his leadership. Now, the offense had not been clicking, and we hadn't really played the bulk of our schedule. But basically what he said is the coaching staff did not give him and the rest of the offense the opportunity to gel, and that he thought it was a premature decision to make. And basically, I think what his thought was okay, maybe under him they lose to Texas. We don't beat Texas. But perhaps we're able to beat Baylor and Oklahoma State, and I think that's kind of where his mind was at. It's tough. It's tough situation.
I understand that, but I also see that as somewhat of a selfish statement because it's like, let's be honest. Like nothing against Spencer. It was the same situation with Trevor Knight. You don't have any problem with him. Obviously, he's a Sooner, right? He was playing like dog ass. Like he was not playing good football, and we were about to lose a game. And in college football, that can sometimes be a death sentence to lose a game that early in the season. So it's
That's true.
It was the appropriate decision to put Caleb in, and it was the appropriate decision to leave him in for the remainder of the season. If you're playing like and I know him and Austin Stockton were basically saying, right, that they were undefeated, but then to say you were on track to continue to be undefeated and make a college football playoff is bullshit. You were staring at you're staring at a giant loss to Texas right in the face until Caleb Williams came in and turned the game around. So I mean, it is what it is. We shouldn't have booed him, but I don't see any problem with the chanting "We want Caleb." You're trying to get the coaching staff to make that call.
Yeah, and I mean we were at the Nebraska game last year.
Yeah,
and it was a very lackluster win. And statistically, Spencer was doing well. He was doing really well, actually. I think he had a higher completion.
Oh no, he didn't. He didn't play bad in that game at all.
But the offense just felt stale. It was just very stagnant.
It was a fucking
which
flat
is fine
line.
If you have a great defense, which we did not.
We
have.
do not. We do not know.
Yeah, I mean, look, he also said that he's gonna talk more on it later. He didn't want to get into it on what the toxic is.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something, and we've kind of talked about this. It's a little conspiracy theory-ish, but maybe it was something where Lincoln Riley wanted to see what Caleb Williams did in a game before he made his way over to SC, so that he could choose which quarterback he wanted to take with him.
Yeah,
and maybe he put like some unnecessary strain between them to try and figure out which quarterback was going to be his that he snatched away. So
yeah, I mean knowing the personality type there, that could very well be possible. But I mean, no hate to Spencer Rattler. Glad he found, his spot to finish out his career. But it's like, man, you were not. Don't act like it was a bad decision to,
Pull you in that
give your
game.
job to somebody else
Yeah.
when you were not the guy last year.
No.
But speaking of offenses, ESPN has done its way too early top 25 offensive rankings. And honestly, they didn't do OU wrong. I mean, I thought our spot was pretty fair in terms of the number, but some of the teams that they put above us, I got a little bit of a problem with. So they put OU at 6, which
is fair.
At first glance, that's more than fair.
I probably wouldn't put us that high this early without seeing anything. I would put us maybe top 15, but I don't know that I would necessarily put us at 6.
So the 5 teams that are above us, though, are Ohio State, which is obvious.
Fair.
Ohio
Yep.
State's the best offense in the country. It's not close. Okay. Alabama,
Fair.
Georgia, USC, and Texas A&M. So, again, I think with having proved nothing yet, 6 is a fair spot.
Yeah.
But I think
USC,
A&M, and Georgia over us is too. Georgia's offense looked good.
against Alabama.
It looked. I mean, everything that they had that season was set up by their defense.
It was.
Right.
But Alabama,
If you continue to get the ball back, I mean, if you get infinitely more chances than every other team to score, you're bound to score.
But Alabama, in that game against Alabama, Georgia's defense did not look as good.
Yeah, but they're gonna have no James Cook. They're still gonna have Stetson Bennett, who, I mean, he's good, but he's not.
No, he's not great.
He's not up there in the same tier, even as like a Dylan Gabriel.
I'll still call that fair though, because they can run the ball down anyone's throat.
I guess that's true. But then A&M has no quarterback play, and they haven't had quarterback play in years.
Is Kellen Mond still there, or did he?
No,
finally-
Kellen Mond's gone forever. I hope I never hear that name again. That and Felipe Franks. Get those two guys out of my life. Did you know Felipe Franks is in the NFL? He plays in the NFL.
Does he?
Yeah, he's going to be backing up Marcus Mariota in Atlanta. Atlanta's in a tough spot. They got Marcus Mariota starting for them, and then their backup is Felipe Franks. I feel so sorry. They should have snatched up Baker when they could. But yeah, I mean, A&M, they're just like us. They've proved nothing.
Yeah.
So why are they ranked higher when our offense has historically been better?
I mean, that's fine. The A&M one doesn't offend me as much as the USC one. To put them that high when
I'm the opposite. See, I mean, I think that just the fact that they've got Caleb Williams there makes them more likely to be better than A&M.
that doesn't automatically put you in the top 6. What else?
No, definitely not. But I don't think A&M should be in the top 10 until they've proved otherwise.
I don't know.
They haven't even historically been. They haven't even been one of the best offensive teams in the SEC, let alone the entire league.
But
right?
they got crazy recruits. Hell of recruits.
But they're all freshmen, which is we're gonna get right back to my point later. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's teams I would have accepted actually, in replacement with USC and A&M. Utah.
Offense. Their offense.
Offense.
No, their defensive team. I wouldn't. No.
Dude, their offense put up numbers against Ohio State. Their run game was extremely because they had TJ Pledger. They had a transfer.
Ohio State didn't have a very good defense this past year.
They had a better defense than us, probably. Still.
Well, yeah. I mean, that goes without saying.
I mean,
I don't know about Utah, but
and if we're talking about last year, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is deep. Yeah, their
and
offense
I mean,
for
I
sure.
think with Jackson Dart and having they're going to run a similar system to what Levy did. I don't think they're going to try to overhaul that. They're going to try to replicate it. So I mean, they're going to be very similar to what they did last year. So I mean, I think Ole Miss potentially.
I mean, I think Wake Forest will still have a good offense.
Dude, Wake Forest is not going to have a better offense than.
I mean, if you're talking about rankings,
than any top of conference team.
Because ranking wise, they're looking at stats, and they play in a weaker conference. Same thing with Pitt. Like Pitt will probably have a pretty decent offense, even though they lost Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
They'll still have a decent offense, and they're not playing against the talent that we necessarily play against. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the number's fair. I think to have USC and Texas A&M up there is kind of some bullshit. Do better, ESPN. Especially the Texas A&M one just irks me because it's like, dude, everybody's so enamored with this recruiting class, and I just don't think it means near as much as everyone else thinks it does.
It probably won't.
Their offense has been so terrible.
It probably won't this year, but maybe in the next couple
A few years down the line. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. You've been keeping up with NBA playoffs?
No. Well, I watched the Mavs lose, but it was a good loss though because
it was a good loss.
We lost by what, 4?
6.
Was it 6 in the end?
I mean, it was garbage time free throws. So
okay, we lost by 6, but no Luka.
No Luka.
So that makes me feel very.
He was sitting on the sideline, and you could tell he just wanted to play. He was very disappointed that he couldn't play. So I think it was a strategic. Our buddy John was shitting on us because we were talking about how Luke is better than Devin Booker, which he is.
He is. Sure. Sorry, John.
But he was like, oh, he couldn't play because of a calf strain. That seems a little weak. I think it was a executive decision by the coaching staff to make sure that Luka comes into this series down 1 game with the mindset of let's fucking win this. But Mavs lost. Minnesota goes up a game. What other games happened yesterday? Philadelphia just demolished the Raptors, and then
Golden State.
The Warriors pulled out a win against the Nuggets, which was surprising to me. Well, no, it wasn't surprising. It was surprising that it was as dominant of a win as it was.
Golden State's back, and
I would not be surprised to see them in the finals.
I would take them in the finals in the West.
So
they're a more complete team than Dallas is, just honestly. And Curry's playing as good a ball as he's ever played.
Yeah. So so we're gonna go into finals picks here. So in the East, I've got two potential teams for both the East and the West. So in the East, I'm going with either the Hawks, just because of how well Trae Young plays in the postseason, and then just their size. I just
don't think they have a complete enough team to match up with the Bucks.
Yeah. So I mean, I have Hawks Bucks are my 2 potential teams coming out of the East. I mean the Bucks are still going to be as good as they were last year. I mean, they've got Giannis playing out of his mind, Chris Middleton, and everybody's healthy. Like the Bucks don't have any injuries, so they're going to be really good. It's just going to be a matter of can the Hawks play? Can all the stars on the Hawks play as good as they potentially can?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the Bucks are going to show out. Everybody's going to play good on the Bucks. But if the Hawks, John Collins can play like he did last year and rebound and defense, and Trae Young's doing his thing, the Hawks are going to be a tough team to beat, which they play today actually. So we shall see. And then in the West, obviously this one didn't age well because they just lost to Minnesota game 1. But I've got the Grizzlies or Golden State. The Grizzlies just because Ja's freak athlete, court general. They have a ton of size.
Yeah.
Usually a really good rebounding team.
Adams.
Yeah, they're usually a really dominant rebounding team. They weren't yesterday, but they usually are. And then Golden State, dude, I would not be surprised to see them win another championship. They've just got so many they're going to have difficulty against bigger teams because they don't have a lot of size, but they've got a bunch of dudes just scoring out of their minds.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Steph, you got Clay. Jordan Poole dropped 30-something points yesterday.
His first playoff game.
Wiggins. So, I mean, they've just got they've got so many weapons. And that's with Wiseman being hurt, who's supposed to be their dominant center.
This might be the best team, and I think you could argue that maybe this team will be better than the last KD team where they won.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I'd say definitely better than they could definitely potentially be better than the Golden State team prior to KD being there when they were still winning championships because they have more offensive talent. Defense, I'm not sure, but dude, KD and Steph together though, I don't like that.
I know I don't
think there's a team that I would take over like beating them, like in the history of the NBA.
That's fair.
Maybe the 2011 Mavs, just because they got the magic touch, dude. Maybe, but anyway, yeah, man. NBA postseason's always.
Yeah.
Basketball has one of the best postseasons
Oh, you think so?
ever. Yeah.
Oh.
As opposed to what?
This might be a good ranking the sports.
Yeah.
Sports postseason.
What do you think's better though?
Hockey's got the best one.
Oh, come on, man.
Hockey's got the best one. Baseball regular season, and I know that
Baseball's got the biggest gap, I think, in terms of
in the postseason, it gets so okay. Because basketball, here's the only problem I have with basketball: more than half of the damn league makes it into the playoffs. So it's like, I mean, I guess the regular season matters, but it almost makes it so that the regular season damn near doesn't matter. I know you're playing for matchups and whatever, but like baseball, a very, very small percentage of the teams make it in. And it's a best of series, just like hockey, just like basketball, so you're getting more of a true sense of who is the best team in the league, because statistically you're spreading it out over a larger margin. I would have to put basketball third.
See, the one problem I have with the hockey postseason though is that like the last few years, there's always just one team that's just way more dominant than the others. I mean, like,
but that happens in basketball too.
Like nobody was beating the Light. And who is it this year? Is it the Oilers that are just like insane?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really watch that much hockey.
I mean, because it was like when the Stars played the Lightning in the finals that COVID year, we didn't stand a chance, dude. That Lightning team demolished the Stars. And then like the Capitals before that.
Yeah, was that the one that had
the Golden Knights? Which that series was kind of close.
That was a good one. No, but I think football. You have. I don't hate the playoffs. I'm glad that they changed the overtime rule, because that was really a big thing that made the football playoffs. And this last year's NFL playoffs was better than, I think, in my opinion, it was better than any of the playoffs that we'd had in the near future. It was super competitive.
I don't think I've seen a better.
It was super.
Better NFL
you had a
playoff than last year.
You had a bunch of teams that could have won it. And it's always better when you have that. When you
fucking
have
the
love.
Chiefs, dude, lucky motherfuckers, just beat they literally. This is the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen rule. Is this new overtime rule?
Yeah,
it was literally that game that put this rule into place, and that game pissed me off so much. But I mean, honestly, a lot of it was on the Bills' defense. But what can you do? So moving on. My phone just buzzed. Distracted me for a second there. Put a poll on Twitter, another poll last week. Our fan question of the week was, do you poop in public? We had a bunch of sissy baby people that were people that refused to poop in public. This week it was, do you believe that aliens exist? Okay. And we had 10 votes.
Okay.
100% of them believe that aliens exist.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
My answer is also yes, but this is where it gets interesting. I want to discuss like kind of potentially like what do we think alien life could be like. So like this is something that's funny. I've actually had dreams about aliens coming to Earth, and in one dream, the aliens are literally just like you know like Circle SpongeBob, like hi, how are you? They're just really plain looking human beings.
So kind of like a.
It was just like
a Stepford Wives type of like.
Dude, they're all either carbon copies of like Jonah Hill or like fucking, what's that guy from Lord of the Rings that played Frodo?
Elijah Wood.
Yeah, just like imagine just like literally like thousands of Elijah Woods or Jonah Hills.
Well,
just like plain looking
those
human
aren't
beings.
the same type of people at all.
Yeah, but if there's like two genders or like two different types, because there's always two different types of aliens, in all the movies and stuff.
Lots of different types.
It's just Jonah Hills and then Elijah Woods.
I think where they get the alien thing wrong, I don't know why, but anytime you see aliens in anything, they're always like reptilian type.
They're like
things.
amphibious, like big old eyes.
They got like eyes, or they have like multiple, like the art from from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like they're always like
Yeah.
weird looking. I think they probably look more normal. I doubt they would look just like crocodiles that went through Chernobyl. Like I'm sure, because that's what they all look like. It just looks like it's Chernobyl.
Yeah.
But
What if they were like giant penises, but then for their sex organs they just had like a human torso, like flopping off. That's some Rick and Morty stuff right there.
oh jeez.
Yeah, but I imagine they're either just like really plain looking humans, or like just something that we wouldn't even like think of.
Yeah, I think it's probably more something that we wouldn't think of, or like there'd just be something like slightly off. You just be like, but like you met those people though before that it's like there's just something that's just off enough about them that it's like,
Dude, I
are you an alien?
genuinely believe that there's like some people that either are in cahoots with the aliens or have been like brainwashed by them, or they are like aliens trying to like disguise themselves and exist among us.
Where did the whole thing with anal probing come from?
I don't know why.
Why is
I don't
that?
know why they'd probe the anus. Of all the holes in the body that you'd think like they'd be most interested in the mouth, because
Yeah,
that's
'cause
where
by the brain.
we're like talking from. But like I don't know why
It's
they
like
go
your
straight to the ass.
asshole.
Yeah. Maybe they think we're females and that's how they're gonna like impregnate us or like do whatever. I don't know, dude. But if I ever get anally probed, or I mean, if I ever get abducted, and I'm like one of those people that wakes up during the abduction, and I can like tell my survivor story, you bet your sweet ass they're not putting a probe in my ass.
That'd be freaky.
I'll go
That'd be
down.
very scary.
I'll die. I'll go down swinging.
It'd be very
But
scary.
oh, dude, that'd be. I don't think I'd ever recover from that. There's that guy that was on Joe Rogan and everything that apparently got abducted, and like everybody thinks it's legit. They made a movie about it, so man, we'll have to have him on sometime maybe.
Yeah, he's
If
probably
you ever, whatever your name is, dude,
he's
if
not
you
doing
ever,
anything.
if you ever want to come on, dude, and tell your alien story, we'd be more than happy to have you.
Football podcast.
Football podcast. We're talking about a bunch of Jonah Hill, Elijah Wood, aliens. Anyway, moving on to the main segment. So this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while.
I'm sorry if you guys can hear
Yeah,
the
if you
dog
guys can
bark.
hear the dogs going crazy, I don't know what the fuck they're doing out there. But this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time now, because obviously A&M has recruited the historic recruiting class, blah, blah, blah. They've got, a gajillion 5 stars and whatnot. As analytics have evolved in the sport of football, obviously, like that's all baseball is analytics, right?
Yeah, 100%.
In football, it's fairly new concept. So I'm calling this segment "Let's Billy Bean this motherfucker," okay? Because this is my genuine belief. A&M has spent a lot of money on noise, right? You're talking about freshmen that are completely untested,
Yeah.
that you have absolutely zero data on. And you're now blowing the majority of your recruiting budget on them when you have these NIL and transfer portal rules that could allow you to go after like way more viable options. So that's what I think OU needs to become.
So I have an interesting take on this because I think it's a very complex thing. Because you can't really, with baseball, everything's analytics, but you have a very deep farm system.
Yeah.
So when someone signs someone out of college in your Major League Baseball team, you already have X number of years of them in college, or they started playing A-ball and they're not making any money. You have years of analytics to see their progression, and they have these massive programs to develop players.
Yeah.
You don't have the time for that in college sports.
Well, and baseball is also one-on-one. Like you're talking pitcher, batter. How does this?
Well,
you're talking about two very. I mean,
fielding.
right, but in
stuff,
football,
I
you're
guess.
talking about if you're talking about quarterback. Okay, how does he do against this specific coverage? And if this position does this specific thing or this,
Right.
there's just too many variables in football.
There's still things that you can see, but yes, there's more variables. I think what you're going to end up with, it's not going to be a full-on Billy Bean thing, but I think what you're going to end up with is a 2-tier system, and we've already basically seen it. So your top-tier recruits coming out of high school are always going to get paid. They're always going to get the money.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of it, the composite systems and the ratings a lot of that is based on opinion. It's based on what schools are interested. It's going to be based on size and measurables, things that that do matter. But there's no way to analytically show that that's going to convert into being a good football player in one particular program. I think what you're going to see though is that second tier of player. Maybe instead of, you're going to have some of them. I'm talking like your 3 stars. 2 stars, 3 stars. You're still going to have some of them that decide to go to big D1 schools, and they're going to sit in the depth chart and hope that they get that development, yada, yada, yada. I think what there's going to be the opportunity for, though, is a lot of these group of 5 schools are going to get to essentially become minor league college football. And you're already kind of seeing it. You're seeing guys from smaller programs, they'll go and they'll spend their first 2 years there where they can start and they can actually play. And if they go to a good group of 5 school, they're going to get good development. If they go to a UCF or a Cincinnati or even some of the smaller schools than that, they're going to get good development. And then in their junior year, they can go into the transfer portal and go, okay, cool. I've now proved myself. I've upped my stock. Let me go get a year or 2 in a Power 5 program, a big-time program. And so that's where I think you have to be smart with your NIL money and your budgeting, because you do want to have a portion of that you can look at the stats, that you can do the analytics of, okay, this is what these kids did in their first 2 years.
Yeah.
What is that worth to us? How much are we going to spend to go get that versus what does it cost us to develop a raw talent? Like, rather than us going and recruiting a 3-star, let's go get a former 3-star out of the transfer portal that has already been developed, rather than trying to mold a freshman that doesn't necessarily have the crazy talent. We're getting one that's already developed. We can put our touches on it, and then boom, it's instant return on investment.
Yeah, but that's the thing about A&M though, is they have all the money but no brains, because you're talking about the boosters only give you so much, however big it may be, you have a budget, right?
Yeah.
And then you only have a certain number of scholarships, right? You have 85 scholarships. So by recruiting these freshmen and having this gigantic freshman class and all these 5-stars that you've blown your entire recruiting budget on, you have now eliminated opportunities for the transfer portal, which analytically is probably going to get you better results because
they have experience.
They have number one experience, and you have number one, you have data on that. You're buying, just like they talked about in Moneyball, right? You're not buying players, you're buying runs, but in the case of football, you're buying production, right?
Whatever that.
So you have data on these guys that are in the transfer portal. They've played in Power 5 games, they've played in big games, and so number one, you understand more about who they are as players. And number two, they probably don't cost as much. I'd say it probably costs more to get a 5-star freshman than it would cost to get a 4-star transfer.
Which has already been developed, and that's the biggest point.
Exactly.
How many people come out their freshman year and are impact players?
Very few.
Very few are able to come in and actually make a difference. They require usually a year, sometimes 2 years of development, and even after that, you're putting all of that time, energy, money, resources into development. There's a chance that they still might end up being bust,
right?
Because they haven't had any real game experience. If you can leverage, like I said, like a minor league system, right? You have your schools that you have relationships with, and that's what if you're OU, why not start to develop relationships with some of the smaller schools in the area, Texas State, UTSA. You start to develop relationships with some of those smaller schools, and then you now have a pipeline of talent that, you're not going to get them as freshman or sophomore, but maybe as junior or seniors, you're looking, okay, we have all these people. We have the connections with these coaching staffs. They want to send their players to OU because it gives them a recruiting pipeline. Oh, you can come play for us for 2 years, and then you can go play for OU.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to go do? Oh,
sure.
Exactly. If I'm a 3-star, I'll go.
But the thing is,
start for 2 years to go play at OU.
But the argument that a lot of people would make those like eligibility, like years of eligibility. The thing is, I think you're more likely to recruit a guy that just finished his sophomore season out of the transfer portal. Yeah, I think that 2 years of eligibility you're going to get out of him before he tries to go pro is as many as you're going to get out of most of these freshmen.
Exactly.
Especially at A&M, where they've filled up all these roster spots. So you're talking about you're coming in bottom of the depth chart as a freshman. So not only you have sophomores, juniors, seniors to compete with, but you have 4 other defensive linemen in your class that are all 5-stars that you're now competing with. So you're going to see a lot of these guys transfer regardless. So you've spent more money than you would have spent on like a really let's take 2 people for example. Let's take Walter Nolan, right, or Gabe Brownlow-Dindy for, obvious reasons, not too kind towards that guy. But let's take him versus like a 4-star guy that's rated like a .89, right, on a 24/7 that's transferring from like NC State or something.
Yeah.
Right? You get 2 years of eligibility out of him. He has 4 years of eligibility, but he costs $1 million. This guy costs $60,000.
Yeah. Well, and I think really it's less.
The choice is obvious there.
Like, yeah, the boosters are going to have to pay them, but also you have to factor in the cost of development. I think that's really where the big cost is, because as a freshman, you're having to bring them in and basically train them up, which is fine. You want to have the ability to do that. Obviously, we have the facilities to be able to do that.
Right.
We have the coaching staff too, but you don't really want to be doing that with. You don't want to be doing too much of that. You want to have a system in place to where you can reach out to these smaller schools and bring in players that have already been developed to your specification. And we're seeing that with our spring ball.
Yeah.
A lot of these transfer guys, because they're older, because they've been in previous systems, they're hungry to come play for us, and they're kicking the shit out of some of the guys that were recruited directly to us.
Yeah, and that's my message with this whole segment is like, let's not get so caught up on what A&M's doing, because I truly believe that we're doing it the smartest way.
Yeah.
We're not recruiting these giant freshman classes, using up all the roster spots, and then we're attacking the transfer portal to find those guys that it honestly costs less to recruit. It costs less to develop and get them, effective inside of our program. And then a lot of the times getting better results out of them. So, I mean, economically,
makes more sense.
You're way more efficient going after the transfer. And I know Brent Venables has said, like, after this year, right, he's going to try to get his players. The transfer portal is not going to be as highly utilized, but, like, that would be the smart thing to do.
For sure.
Is, like, you can build championship rosters year after year by using these transfer portal rules. Like, it's extremely valuable, and you get a lot more out of it than doing recruitment the traditional way, where your only focus is getting these high school kids that you've never seen play a college snap. So,
yeah.
That'd be the smart thing to do. Obviously, A&M, like I said, all the money, no brains. They've taken a different approach, and I can't wait to watch it fail. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else?
Nope.
No? Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for episode 11, y'all. Again, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Next Saturday, we'll probably see a lot of y'all in person.
Live from
at the
Norman.
spring game. Yeah, we'll be live from Norman.
We're not live, but we'll record.
We won't be. Yeah, we'll be recording from our hotel room. We're going to go to the game, go to dinner, and then record at the hotel room. We're going to get some like live footage of us throughout the day and whatever. If we get pictures with any of the players, because I know a lot of former players are going to be there. So, anyway, we hope to see some of y'all there. Until then, Boomer Sooner.
Boomer.
Yeah.